Hi, and welcome to Coach's Corner, where systems matter and both personal and professional learning and development is beneficial for everyone and essential for some. As always, please like, subscribe, comment, share, and hit the notification bell. Let's get started.
So today we're going to be talking about entrepreneurs again, but we're going to be talking about more of like characteristics, behaviors, different things like that. So is there anything that you would like to start off talking about before we get started?
No, yes. Well, I always say no, and then I go right into it. I was just thinking about one of the systems, and this is why, I think people can be grabbed and grasped by systems, which is one of the systems. So I started a league fantasy football like 4 years ago.
Okay.
And then that led me into playing for money, right?
Okay.
And so I look back at my first lineup.
Yes.
And it's a half point PPR, and I scored like 82 points. Now, anybody that knows fantasy football, that's not real good. But last year, I actually won a lineup. There was 27,000 entries, and I won a lineup. And then I think a week later, I took second, had plenty of fours. Last weekend, I was 11th. And to me, it's not so much that I'm knowledgeable. I'm too busy to watch football and stuff. Yeah. But I have a system that I developed, and it took me a couple years to kind of play with it and stuff. But to me, that's what for the entrepreneur is. If you already have the mental capacity to do some things, if you can, I call that the art, the talent, and you can meld that or marriage that with what I call the science, which is systems. To me, that's a home run. And so I was just, I don't know why that popped in my head, but I was like, well, if you're going to brag on me, I might as well say I did win.
Yeah, that's so crazy. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. So let's jump into just what is an entrepreneur? Can you define it for us? Yeah,
I mean, they've got the Webster's definition, which mainly I think is around business.
Right.
But to me, it's just somebody who is interested in capitalizing on something.
Okay.
And so I think some people, there's business entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. They may start up a business. They may take over a business and then help it to grow. They may take over a business and help it to grow and then scale. There's that kind of entrepreneur.
Yeah.
There's the entrepreneur that I say kind of cashes in on trends. So you remember Cash for Gold?
Yes.
So that was a trend, and I think it's still going on today because I see signs around town. Now maybe those businesses have shut down and they haven't taken down the signs, but usually if you see signs like that, usually it's one of two things. It's either continually working,
right,
or they went out of business and forgot to take down the signs. But I think there's that. It's what I call the surfer who's waiting for that wave, and what's the next wave. We know that artificial intelligence, we know voice, we know all these different things are coming, and so how are you going to capitalize on that? I think there's the inventor, somebody that sees something like, I think one of the best inventions of all time, is, at least money wise, was the little smiley face scrubby thing.
Oh yeah,
have you seen that? What's the chances? But somebody saw that there was trouble and said, what can I do to beat the trouble? Like, bat game.
Yeah.
When you're a kid, I'm going to top this, so to speak. And then I think there's the innovator entrepreneur. And so, which is a little bit tough for me, because who truly innovates? Like, I'm trying to think, like, okay, a caveman back in the day, what did he do? He pushed somebody down and he got on some rocks and he was rolling. He goes, oh, this would be good to, make a car. I mean,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think there's stuff that happens, but I do think there are the innovator entrepreneurs. So those are the kind of the four primaries, the way I see it.
Yeah.
But in the end, they all have, I think, this ability to take something and to make it better.
Got it. And so the next one is, can you define or talk to us about successful basic traits of a entrepreneur? But I think you kind of just talked about that, right? Making it better.
Yeah. So troubleshooting comes to mind. You have to be a really good troubleshooter.
Okay.
I think you have to be creative. I never thought that I was a creative guy, because I used to put that into a world of like what I would call the arts, like dance, or I can draw real good, or paint, or sing, or play the piano.
Yeah.
But I was pretty creative, like you said. In intramurals in 8th grade, or all of middle school, really.
Right.
My lesson plans, as a former teacher and coach, I had a full playbook. There was only like 9 plays in there.
Yeah.
8 of them went to me because I was fast.
Right.
No, but it wasn't like, hey, go to the corner and I'll throw you the ball. Oh, hey, you go over to that tree and I'll throw you the ball.
Right.
It was like a playbook, and it was like, hey, if you can't run your play, then you need to go on somebody else's team.
Right.
Yeah, we wanted to be efficient and do different things of that nature. I think caring, people don't think entrepreneur caring. I think that's important. Being empathetic, sympathetic, caring about people, wanting to help. It's not always about the almighty dollar. And I think a lot of times that's what we think.
Right.
And I disagree with that. I mean, hey, money's great, right?
Yeah.
But I look at it as, be more purpose driven. But I think that, some people, one of my mentors said one time, and I agree with him, he said, go do something that makes you a whole bunch of money, even if it's not your purpose or your passion, but then you can turn that into what's your purpose and your passion later.
Okay.
So I think there's a lot of different, character traits, hardworking, work ethic, never say, die, get the yes. I mean, I think there's thousands of them.
Yeah.
But those are just a few that come to mind.
Got it. And so for, I guess anyone, doesn't really matter, but I was thinking just a younger age, come up to you and said, hey, will you train me to be an entrepreneur?
Yeah.
Where would you have them start?
I would have them, and I would teach them about underpriced stuff first.
Okay.
So go and get underpriced stuff. That'd be number one. Step 2, find out where you can sell that underpriced stuff. There's all kinds of different platforms.
Yeah.
Yard sales, garage sales, swap meets, Craigslist, OfferUp. I guess they merged with LetGo, I guess.
Yeah, I believe that. Yeah, LetGo bought an OfferUp, or the other way around.
Yeah, but whatever. You got Facebook Marketplace, you got eBay, Pristine Auction, blah, 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 right? But figure out the platforms on where you can sell it. And then the third part of that is make sure that you deliver on the goods. And so we do little special things like we'll write a note to them that says, hey, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Sometimes we'll do a video.
Okay.
Yeah, with them actually packaging their stuff, and giving it to them.
Nice.
And so we'll do different things like that. And we're doing that because we care about the people, number one.
Right.
We always think of the other person first. But we also know that gives us a chance and a potential to get a repeat customer. Because once you get a customer, take care of them. Because it's much more difficult to get your first customer than to get somebody, make them happy, and they become a repeat customer.
Gotcha.
But that's it. Those are the 3 things, and I would teach them very quickly, in less than probably 20 or 30 minutes, and I would send them off. And then in a week, I'd meet with them, and they could call me at any time and say, hey, what do you think? But let's see how much money you made. And so then from there, I would break it down a little bit further. Yeah. So I like to say the first one is touching the bases. So when you hit a grand slam or a home run, you go and touch the bases. Yeah. And then if I go hit a single, I got to stay on that base a little bit, look at the first base, my coach. I'm going to do a little bit more of a deeper dive and or a thorough examination. Yeah. So in this case is, I'll ask you, what's about as underpriced as you can possibly get?
I would say free.
That's right. Yeah. Free stuff's about as underpriced as you can get. Yeah. And so I say, hey, start with yourself first. So put the oxygen mask on yourself first. Yeah. What do you have in your closet or in your old toy box or in your... grab that, get it set up, and then go ask who. Airplane... you put the mask on yourself first. Yeah. I love you guys, but I'm not going to go save you next. I'm going to go save my wife and my kids and my mom and, different things of that nature. Right. I'm going to go ask them, hey, do you have anything that you would, want to give away to me? Because I'm going to go put it on eBay or Swap or whatever. Right. And even on Craigslist, they have free stuff, dude. Yeah. Right? I don't have to go pick up free stuff. I do it. Yeah. If I don't have anything else to do or I'm driving that direction, I looked on Craigslist, I'll pick it up. Right? Yeah. Because to me, I look at it and say, for every dollar we make, it's like helping a child, helping a youth. Got it. So for me, if I can go and get a bench and sell it for $20, I'm not doing the selling, but I have people that do. Yeah. And so we're helping them to make it. We got $20. That's 20 kids that I can help.
Right.
You know, so
Yes.
so that's how you find the best underpriced stuff. But then you'll learn. So I walked in to a thrift the other day. I was already doing a business meeting. I walked into a thrift that I guess wasn't supposed to be open. I went through the back door because of COVID, but I went back through there, and you know, everybody was masked up and everything. Anyway, and I picked up a $1 item, and I had one of my guys sell it on eBay for $100. Right?
Yeah.
That's to me a net 99 kids that I just helped.
Right.
So, you know, that's kind of, you know, going a little bit more thorough.
Yeah.
But to me, I just educated somebody, I don't know, less than 5 minutes.
Right.
And I would do the same thing with anybody who came and you know, asked me.
Yeah.
You're going to learn a lot, you know, how to inventory, how to please a customer, how to sell, how to market, how to, you know, a little bit of branding yourself, how to go get stuff, how to be told no.
Right.
You know, people, ooh, he told me no. I'm like, I don't care. I'll go to the next guy. He'll tell me yes.
Yes, gotcha. Well, then my second question was, how come you have them do that? But you explained why, so thank you.
Well, and there's a bunch of reasons, right?
Yeah.
Because it's all, look, we can talk in theory all day long, but
Right.
the reality is, until you go do it, you're not going to be able to be, you know, anywhere close to being good at it or know what's going on.
Yeah.
So I took 5 years to get my college degree, another year to get my teaching credential, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And the first day I had some little 8th grade kid go, "Hey, you." And so after he picked his teeth up out of his head,
Yeah.
right, I've had a little talk with him. But you know, there was nothing in my college manual that said, how do you deal with.
Right.
So what's better than real life experience? So
Right.
you can do all this mindset stuff and you can get organized, which is part of one of my systems.
Yeah.
But in the end, you better just go do it, which I call solution showcase.
Got it. And so talking about a college degree,
Yeah.
do you think you need a college degree in business to be a successful entrepreneur?
No.
No.
Not in any way, shape, or form. Matter of fact, so I told you the story. You know, I got 7 years, got another year to get my professional growth, whatever credential.
Yeah.
So I have 7 years, and you know, had my office and had this degree up here, this credential, this, you know, all
Right.
this, and then I put my little. It was like this big. You know, the size of like a little certificate. I went and got my insurance license.
Okay.
And at the time, I was teaching. Actually, I was the program manager of the after school program, but I was doing on the side part time. I was doing insurance. It was life insurance, but it was kind of like double ended as a supplementary retirement.
Okay.
And so I was, just from a money perspective,
Yeah.
which is a measuring stick. It's not my most important measuring stick, but it's a measuring stick.
Right.
Is I was making the same amount of money, 6 figures, that I was making, and 15 hours a week that I was making over here. So when I would recruit agents in,
Yeah.
I would point at that and I'd go, hey, you could go this route, and in 7 years you can be making $40,000 as a teacher.
Right.
Right? Or you can go this route and be making double, triple that in half the time if you do it correct.
Got it. And so that's just crazy, right? I mean, everyone thinks that college, especially, maybe not as much anymore, but definitely back in the day.
Yeah.
And are you seeing that maybe tipping the other way to where college isn't important, or do you think people still believe it is important?
Yeah, but I want to talk about a bigger picture here.
Yeah.
So we are accustomed, right, to habits, rituals. We have a way that we roll,
Yes.
so to speak, right? That's why I like systems,
Yeah.
because they're easy to plug into.
Right.
Whether you're super smart, whether you're medium smart, or whether you're dumb as a box of rocks,
Yeah.
you could still plug in. It's the old paint by number.
Right.
Right? If it says 1, paint it in blue. If it says 2, paint it in red. So on and so forth, then you get a decent system.
Yeah.
So this is the bigger question to me, and I swear I want everybody, if you don't listen to anything else, please listen to this. Why do you do the things that you do? Is it based off of tradition, or is it based off of choice?
Right.
If it is based off of tradition, which is my thesis on this, that 80-90% of the people do it, is it something that you're doing that's smart? Right. So let's think about this. Let's talk about something that's probably traditional, for most people. Okay.
Yeah.
So typically you're going to eat, and you're going to go put your dishes, and wash your dishes and put them in the dishwasher.
Right.
That would be something that's based off of tradition. Now, some people let them store up and then they do it, whatever. But in the end, that's kind of the process, right?
Yes.
And so would you agree that is something that makes sense? Or do you think, no, maybe that doesn't make sense?
I would think that makes sense.
I would too, right? So you don't go put the dish in the dishwasher and eat with your hands,
Right.
but some people do.
Yeah.
And so the question then becomes, is that traditional thing that you do? Or if you're going to go get in the shower, do you take your clothes off first and then go in the shower?
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Most people would.
Yeah.
Not everybody. Some people have stinky clothes they need, right?
Yeah.
But the reality is that tradition makes sense. But the best story to outline that is the little girl who goes up to her mom and says, "Hey, why do you cut off the back part of the ham?"
Right.
And she's like, "I don't know. Go ask your grandma."
Right.
And the grandma says, "I don't know. Go ask your great grandma." And eventually, one of them says, "I don't know why those idiots are doing it, but I did it because my pan was too short."
Right.
But I think a lot of times what we do is we're cutting off the back part of the ham based off of tradition, and it doesn't make sense. So to me, that's the challenge more than anything else when it comes to systems.
Right.
Is let's figure out if we're doing this based off of tradition.
Yeah.
And if it makes sense, great, keep doing it.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't make sense, let's pivot or counter or do something different so that ultimately we may be able to have different or better or whatever type results.
Got it. That makes sense. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And so now we're going to go into what I would call entrepreneurial considerations. And so for someone considering to be an entrepreneur, what would you say the upsides of being an entrepreneur are?
Well, I think to me it's everything. You get to be your own boss. You get up when you want. You go to sleep when you want. You can turn off the phone if you want, which we really never do. If you're truly an entrepreneur, you know that.
Yeah.
But I'm saying you have choice, and choice to me is everything.
Yeah.
Right? I want to be able to choose to do this or to do that. Now, I choose to work 15 hours a day.
Right.
But I choose to do that. I don't have to do that. I can retire anytime I want.
Yeah.
But I choose to do that. And so I think a lot of times if you're an employee and you're living paycheck to paycheck, you don't have choices.
Right.
It just is what it is. And all of a sudden, just like with kids, you wake up and they're 23 years old.
Yeah.
And you're like what happened?
Yeah.
I'm like, I got a 23 and a 19, almost a 19-year-old.
Yeah.
I'm like, where'd that go?
Right. Yeah.
And so to me, that's one of the biggest upsides, but there's plenty of others.
Yeah.
You're going to traditionally make more money, if you're working than working for somebody else. I think that you're going to be able to help a lot more people,
Right.
which is always my number one goal as a teacher or coach is how many people can I help? I tell everybody when we all go to heaven, I want to have the longest line, not because I'm arrogant or cocky, but I want to help the most people.
Right.
And there was a song about that where the guy was actually sitting like at a table talking to an angel and goes, "Who are all those people?" "Those are all the people you helped."
Right.
And I'm like, ooh, that's, to me, that's what I want.
Got it. And so, that's a big upside. Like you said, there's other upsides. What would you say the biggest downside to being an entrepreneur is?
That's not how my brain works.
Yeah.
Of course, I'll look at the negatives, but I'll instantly turn them into a positive.
Got it.
I'll take, lemons and turn it into lemonade.
Yeah.
And that's not always easy, but that's where I'm at, in my brain. So I don't really look at downsides or negatives or whatever. I kind of have the Thomas Edison approach.
Yeah.
He knows 10,000 things of what not to do so he could create the light bulb.
Yeah.
When my kids would come home, we talked about their C's or D's sometimes, but mainly I wanted to talk to them about their A's. Like, hey, you did this well, or you did that great. Or when I was coaching, there were some things you have to work on.
Yeah.
To troubleshooting. But let's talk about the things you do well.
Well, okay.
Water flows where it's least resistant.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times we don't do that. We go after things that are really difficult and hard and take a lot of time and time intensive and we don't like. Now I do that too when it comes to systems and the creation of systems.
Yeah.
But I know in the end it's going to help me 100-fold, 1,000-fold, 10,000-fold people, anybody, like you said, wives, moms, dads, grandmas, sisters, cousins, not just entrepreneurs, not just business people,
right?
But anybody, because if you can put it into a system,
Yeah.
Systems are about speed and predictability and reliability and all those types of things.
Right.
So I'll battle over here, like doing your homework in class type stuff.
Yeah.
I'll battle over here so that I can make it smoother over here.
Got it. And going back to what you said, versus tradition.
Yeah.
Do you think that people, I would say maybe not, but majority of the people like to talk about the negatives. Do you think that's a tradition thing because their parents talked about it and their grandparents? Or, do you have any thoughts on that?
Absolutely. I mean, look at, the news.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do you go onto the news and see much positive stuff?
No.
No, it's all negative crap.
Mm-hmm.
So if our media is, pounding negative crap,
yeah.
And then, like you say, what's the topic of conversation at a party? Usually about politics or, this, that, whatever.
Yeah.
Which politics don't have to be negative, but typically they are because anytime you pit two sides
against each other.
Yeah, it's going to be a problem.
Right.
I always say you stick two independent people called a marriage in the same room or the same roof, and it's going to be a problem.
Right.
When your 23-year-old gets old enough, he got to get out the house because he's like, I'm not doing your rules anymore. I got to go.
Right.
So I just think that, it's how are you raised, but I also think it's what's out there. That's why I don't watch TV.
Right.
We could be at World War IV with whoever. So I live in Bakersfield. We call it Button Willows, like a really little town.
Yeah.
Like 3 people, and I'm like, we could be at war with Button Willow, and I wouldn't know the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I also think that that's how I was raised.
Yeah.
Right. I was raised that we saw it wasn't. We're not like there's no negative. No. We would identify the negatives.
Right.
And if we had to beat those for the big picture, we would beat it.
Right.
But we would also look at the strengths and the positives.
Got it. And so, going back to an entrepreneur, with someone that's, let's say, on the edge, right? They're like, I don't know, entrepreneur, employee, I don't really know, and they came and talked to you. What's a piece of advice or pieces of advice you would give them to sway them either direction?
Well, first of all, I would say, hey, I need you to, turn around and stand right in front of me, back up, and I said, when you hit my hands, brace yourself. And I'd shove the heck out of them, and then I'd say, just go for it.
Got it.
Just go for it. What does it matter?
Yeah.
Now, I'm not telling you to go quit your 6-figure job and go for it tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I'm not telling you not to do that either.
Right.
I did it, but I did it in my way.
Right.
So I'm making 6 figures,
Yeah.
right? And so I stuck my toe in.
Yeah.
Right? And so I did a little bit part-time, and I was still helping people. I tell people my classroom has changed.
Yeah.
16 special day kids, PE kids, coaching, after school, now we're helping, tens and millions of youth, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But my purpose and passion in helping people has never changed.
Always been the same.
Always been the same since I've been a little guy.
Right.
It was instilled in me by my mother. It was, I had a God lens early on.
Yeah.
And he says that. Most of my experiences and stuff were around helping others. That's what we did. That's just how we rolled.
Yeah.
Right? We talk about how people roll or they're a collection of.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I did, and I did it over and over and over again. And so I think that again, it goes back to tradition. I was very fortunate and lucky, right? I was very fortunate and lucky. Now, there's issues there. I had a lot of anger issues as a little guy.
Yeah.
Right? Because I wanted to be the best in the history of the world as an athlete.
Right.
And I was 4'2" and weighed 3 pounds.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But just kept working, kept trying to work through it. And I think we all have to help ourselves first, and then we can go out and we can help others.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is just go do it.
Yeah.
You're a track guy. This ready, aim, or on your marks, get set.
Yeah.
On your marks, get set. If you don't ever fire the gun, ready, aim, fire. If you don't ever go, how are you gonna ever know if you can be any good at it?
Good at it. Got it. And so, going in, talking about this COVID-19 situation.
Yeah.
Been, almost, I think, a year and a half now or whatever.
Yeah.
So gonna play both sides. One, do you think, these entrepreneurs, or I think I've heard you say these fake entrepreneurs have really established themselves and stuff. Do you think they'll go away once the COVID-19 situation goes away? So that's my first question. Or do you think that they'll continue to be entrepreneurs?
Well, I mean, a lot of it's based off of necessity. So to me, I'm not trying to be offensive when I call people fake entrepreneurs. But, back in the day, I'm not good with dates and stuff, but I think it was late 2009, 18, well, somewhere in there, there was a big real estate boom.
Yeah.
And so it didn't matter who you were. If you were like, like a giraffe or a bear, you could become a real estate agent and make money.
Right.
Right. Or, so on and so forth. And a lot of those guys, fake real estate agents, they got in, they got out.
Yeah.
Right. But they made a bunch of money, but there was, they spent that same money too. But there was no longevity there.
Yeah.
I think that's a good parallel to say where we're at, whether it's COVID or not. We're on a roller coaster.
Right.
It's like I tell my family and my business partners and the people that work with us. Most people call them employees. I call them family, basically.
Yeah.
I say, look, if you start going back and forth, side to side, when we're on this roller coaster, we're gonna have a problem.
Yeah.
But I said, I'll go with the ups and downs with you.
Right.
Right. Because that's just a normal roller coaster ride.
Yeah.
But I think that these fake entrepreneurs are people that try to get in, and then they don't really go to work and get some, visceral and otherwise understanding of some things.
Uh-huh.
And what happens is that they do get out. So I am concerned for them. And we're almost probably to the point where they're already out.
Right.
Yeah.
Got it. And so then the second part of that is for the people that have been, this is more for the small business type of people, mom and pop shops, different things like that have suffered through this.
Yeah.
What is, what do you say to them, or someone, like, how do they get back going? How do they get back on their feet that have lost so much to these Amazons and bigger things that can ship to them? What do they do, or is there anything they can do?
Yeah, I think they got to go back, and that's what's hard, right? If you've been, at the penthouse before, it's hard to go back to the outhouse,
right?
And so, like, what I tell people is I'll spend some time in the clouds, but I'm in the weeds, right? As a kid, I used to dumpster dive.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have to do that. I was middle class. But that's where my brain was, because I knew people would throw away crazy stuff. As a little kid, I'd pick out $50 items, $30, and that's a lot of money back then. That's like a $500 item, and I'd go sell that sucker. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so I try to stay in the weeds. I want to stay dirty. Yeah. Right. About a couple of years ago, both my kids were like, I want to be an entrepreneur, so I went and bought a thrift store, and because I knew that was the worst possibility of of a store out there. No offense to any thrift store owners, but it's tough, right? Yeah. You got to move stuff around, you're dirty stuff. It's just whatever. But I wanted to show them, like, are you sure? Talking about the fake entrepreneurs. Yeah. Are you sure you want to do this? Right. And so, I think it's that kind of stuff. You may have to go back to the weeds, go back to step one, and figure it out. But more importantly is to figure out that you better have an online presence. Right. So my wife, this little cabinet door got broke somehow. I didn't kick a trash can. No. When the Steelers lost, I didn't do that. Yeah. Because I'm mild mannered. Thank you very much. And for some reason, this trash can went into the, right? Yes. And anyway, and so she took it to this mom and pop's place. Oh, these guys don't do credit cards.
Oh, wow. Only cash?
No. Oh. You can write them a check.
Wow.
And I was like, man, they could bounce check, whatever. But I was like, whatever. But guess what? They know their limitations. They have very low rent. They're probably not making tons. I think they charge like $40 for this little cabinet. Uh-huh. So on or not the cabinet, but the door. The door, yeah, and so on and so forth. And so, first of all, you should never live outside of your means. Right. I call that prevention. I'm into that, not intervening. But the people that do have to intervene, they may just have to go back to scratch, or some of them may have to go be an employee for a while until they get back on their feet. Go live with your mom and dad again. Go whatever. Yeah. People have so much pride, self, and ego. Yeah. And it's like, dude, we had 3 lines. Mm-hmm. And we had to completely do away with 1 line because of COVID. It didn't make sense. Yeah. That doesn't feel good.
No, right.
Well, I'm not crying about it, but I was smart enough to have 2 other lines. Yeah. And live within the means of where I have half a line. That's where I live. Got it. Right? I buy the same $7 shirts. Yeah. Because that's how I roll. Mm-hmm. I don't need a $100 shirt. Yeah. It's not my thing. Mm-hmm. So, wherever you're at, It's a roller coaster. Things go up, things go down. You can make $1 million a year, you can make 10 million, but it may come down to where you're making 100,000 a year.
Right.
So be prepared for all of those things.
Got it. And before we move on to the next one, is there any other considerations or anything else you would like to share that I didn't ask you about?
No, I just think, look, if you're an entrepreneur, figure out, are you the person that just jumps all the way in?
Yeah.
One of my sons, idiot 23-year-old,
Yes.
I'm watching him run off the roof doing a gainer into a pool. And I wanted to severely beat him, but he was out of the house, right? So to me, but you know, I mean, I respect that at some level, although it scared the crap out of me.
Yeah.
Because you could slip and broken neck and all that.
All that,
I'm like,
yeah.
It's not worth it to me, right? But to each their own. But some people like that. They're just like the risk adversement is just there, and it's, you know, you go through and you go.
Yeah.
Then you got the little chickens like me. That was more of like a little toe guy.
Yeah.
Right. And then, you know, and then you got everywhere in between.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and then there's the whole world over here that will never go. They won't even stick a little toe in.
Right.
They're like, oh, it might get wet. I'm like, no, it is going to get wet. And it may get bitten off by an alligator.
Yeah.
But the other thing could be is that you might kill that alligator and you open up your own shoe company.
Right.
Too, right?
Yeah.
So how will you know unless you go for it?
Right.
And so that's why I say, you know, stand right here. I'm gonna shove you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, go for it.
Same thing I did with my kids when I was teaching them to swim. I just threw them in the deep end.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, well, hopefully they'll bob up, because I don't feel like going to jail because they didn't, you know, and you're going to thrash and do, and you'll figure it out.
Right.
And that's most of the time.
Yeah.
Now, if you can have a mentor that can help you, please do.
Yeah.
If you can get a system that can help you, please do. If Van Gogh lives next door to me, and I want to learn to paint, I'm going to go try to find him as a mentor.
Right.
If I don't have somebody that can mentor me, then I'm going to go find somebody who can mentor me from afar, teach me a system that I can plug into, and then I'll be successful.
Got it. And that makes sense. I mean, if you want to be the best, you learn from the best.
There you go, baby.
Close enough. Got it.
I got to tell you a quick story on that. So I had a 59-2 team. There was 3 7th graders that played up on the 8th grade team their 7th grade year. Okay. And man, these guys walked around like, like they were all that and a bag of chips. Yeah. And I go, oh, okay. So we live halfway in between like Sacramento and LA. Right. And so LA has, I don't know, 20 million people. Yeah. Right. And we're at like 500,000. And we got a great sports town, so don't get me wrong. I mean, it's competitive as heck. Right. It's serious stuff around here. Yeah. Well, they were yapping, you know, in the summer and this and that. And we were beating teams by 30, by 50, you know, 59-2, you can imagine. Yeah. Well, they got cocky in the summer, and I go, you know what? I'm tired of you guys yapping. Let me show you what the real world's all about. Yeah. And so I took them over the hill, and we won a lot more games than we lost. I think we were like, you know, 7-3 or 8-2. Mm-hmm. But these are, I mean, you know, my kids could almost dunk a basketball. Every team down there, you had kids that were dunking, and I mean, they were just amazing. Yeah. And so I agree with you. It's like, you know, go to the next level. Yeah. Go to the next level. I mean, you know, your senior year in high school, you were, you know, one of the top 3 in the whole nation, and you know, you would have won USATFs if you would have went there. You decided to go to the AAU route. Yeah. But you were able to compete at a high level. Right. So when you did your little meets around here, you're like
a lot different.
Yeah, I mean, it's a sleeper situation.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, let's go compete against the best, and let's find out what we're really about.
Yeah, got it. And so now,
if you need to contact Brett or Coach, please do so on his social media accounts, email, and or text. You can find that information in the description below. Again, please like, subscribe, comment, share, and hit the notification bell. Thanks, and we hope you enjoyed.
Is that face the right way? This one.
I think so. I don't know.